part 2 of our deep dive. So we were talking about how self-love is so important to manifestation and how we often have these like really deeply rooted beliefs that hold us back.
Right, and it can feel pretty daunting to even know like where to start, you know.
No, absolutely. It can be really overwhelming.
And at the end of part 1, we're talking about like surrendering to the unknown, trusting that inner voice. But for someone who is like a total control freak like myself, that can be terrifying.
Oh, I hear you.
So what does Michaela suggest for like dealing with that fear?
Well, she acknowledges that this shift can be really challenging, especially at first, because like our minds are wired to crave certainty and control. So letting go and trusting the process can feel like, jumping off a cliff.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely how I feel about it sometimes.
Yeah, it's a big leap.
So what's the antidote to that fear? Like, how do we build that trust in ourselves and in the universe?
Well, one of the first things she suggests is surrounding yourself with like reminders of your intentions.
Okay, like what kind of reminders?
It could be like a quote you love, an affirmation you write down, or even a vision board.
I can see how that would be helpful, just like having those little nudges throughout the day.
Yeah, just to like keep you focused
On your goals and to remind yourself of what you're working towards.
Exactly. And she also emphasizes the importance of, having a supportive community.
Oh, that's so important.
Yeah.
Whether that's a therapist, a mentor, a group of friends, or even an online community,
Yeah, absolutely.
Just people who can like support you on your journey.
Just having that external support can make such a big difference, especially when you're dealing with like deep-seated beliefs and patterns that can be tough to shift on your own.
It's like having a team of cheerleaders reminding you of your strength, helping you stay on track.
Exactly. And then for the next phase, which involves actually like observing your thoughts and behaviors and identifying those limiting beliefs, she highly recommends journaling.
Journaling is something I've always meant to do more consistently, but I haven't quite figured out how to make it a habit.
Yeah, it can be tricky.
So why does Michaela think it's so helpful?
She explains that getting those thoughts and feelings out of your head and onto paper can be incredibly clarifying.
Oh, okay.
It allows you to see those patterns and beliefs more objectively, almost as if they belong to someone else.
It's like you're creating some distance between yourself and those thoughts. So you can observe them without getting like so caught up in them.
Exactly. Yeah. And if writing isn't your thing, she suggests recording voice memos.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Or even typing out your thoughts, The key is to find a method that feels comfortable and allows you to express yourself freely without judgment or censorship.
I can see how that would be a really powerful way to become more aware of those subconscious patterns that are often, running the show without us even realizing it.
Yeah, it brings it to the surface.
But I imagine this phase of like slowing down and observing can be challenging in itself.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely.
Like our minds and bodies might resist. We might want to stay busy and distracted to avoid those uncomfortable feelings that might surface.
Oh, yeah, totally. It's like we have all these defense mechanisms to protect ourselves from pain.
Yeah.
But sometimes those mechanisms end up holding us back from experiencing, real growth and transformation.
Exactly. So how do we move through that resistance?
That's where those somatic practices we talked about earlier come in, things like shaking and breath work.
Okay.
Michaela encourages us to, embrace those feelings and find healthy ways to release them rather than trying to suppress them.
So it's not about trying to like force ourselves to be happy or positive all the time.
Definitely not.
But about allowing ourselves to feel the full spectrum of human emotions without judgment.
Exactly. And those somatic practices can be incredibly effective in helping to regulate our nervous system.
Okay.
And release those pent-up emotions that might be blocking us from accessing our inner wisdom.
I'm definitely intrigued by these somatic practices, I have to say.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Have you experimented with them much yourself?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What's your favorite?
I've found that shaking, in particular, can be surprisingly powerful.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like you're literally shaking off those stagnant energies, creating space for something new to emerge. It might feel a little strange at first, but it can be a game changer when you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed.
Okay, I'm sold. I'm going to add that to my self-care toolkit.
I think you'd like it.
So we've talked about journaling, somatic practices. What about hypnotherapy?
Yes.
Michaela talks about that a lot in her video.
Yeah, hypnotherapy is actually one of Michaela's specialties.
Okay.
She believes it can be an incredibly powerful tool for accessing the subconscious mind and reprogramming those deeply ingrained beliefs and patterns that might be holding us back.
To be honest, I've always been a little skeptical of hypnotherapy.
Yeah, I get it.
It just seems kind of mysterious and almost like too good to be true.
Yeah.
So can you explain a little bit more about how it actually works?
Sure. So hypnotherapy essentially guides you into a deeply relaxed state, similar to meditation,
Okay.
where your mind is more open to suggestion. And in that state, you can begin to work with those subconscious beliefs and patterns that are, driving your behaviors.
And creating your reality.
Exactly. And what I find really fascinating about Michaela's approach is that she combines hypnotherapy with those somatic practices we were talking about, like the shaking and the breath work.
Oh, wow.
So it's not just about talking to your subconscious mind, but also about creating a felt sense of release and transformation in your body.
That makes so much sense. So it's like a holistic approach that addresses the mind, body, and spirit.
Exactly.
That's really cool. So is it something that, like, anyone can do?
Well, Michaela actually created this pre-recorded hypnotherapy session.
Oh, wow.
Specifically designed to help people access that deep state of relaxation and begin to reprogram their minds with positive affirmations and suggestions.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like having a personal hypnotherapist guiding you through the process from the comfort of your own home.
I love that.
Yeah.
She's offering like practical tools and resources to support people on their journey.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's what's so empowering about her approach. She's not just talking about these concepts, but actually giving people the support they need to make real and lasting changes in their lives.
So with all these tools and techniques, it sounds like Michaela's really emphasizing that we have the power to create our own reality, not through like force or struggle,
Right.
but through self-love, surrender, and a willingness to do the inner work.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that we're not victims of our circumstances, but powerful creators who can choose to rewrite our stories.
And create a life that is aligned with our deepest desires, our soul's true purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
So inspiring. And I think it really resonates with a lot of people who are feeling, stuck or disillusioned with maybe the more traditional approaches to manifestation.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I'm wondering, what about those times when we hit roadblocks or experience setbacks,
Yeah.
even when we're doing all the right things?
Yeah.
Like, how do we stay motivated,
Yeah.
and keep trusting the process, especially when it feels like nothing is changing?
That's a really important question, and that's actually a perfect segue into the next phase of Michaela's approach, which is all about patience, surrender, and embracing the unknown.
Okay, I think this is where a lot of us, myself included, could use some extra guidance.
Definitely.
So how do we navigate those moments of doubt and uncertainty? How do we even know if we're truly surrendering to the process or just giving up?